The last thing I saw was her trunk open in our apartment parking lot, swallowing 5 years like it was just groceries. She had 2 suitcases, a skinny box of office stuff, and that look people get when they've already practiced the speech in the mirror. "I'm not doing this anymore," she said, like she was canceling a subscription. I leaned on my car door because if I stood up straight, I might have said something that would have gotten bleeped on daytime TV. "So, you're moving out tonight?" "Yeah, with a schedule. It's best this way." I nodded slowly. "You know what's funny? You packed faster than you ever worked." Her jaw tightened. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Use words." She slammed the trunk, took one breath, and hit me with the line that still makes me laugh in the worst way. "I'm going to be with someone who matches my ambition." I looked past her at the highway lights. "Sure. Great. Go match it." And right there, while she walked to the driver's seat, I turned to the imaginary audience in my head and thought, if you think this ends with a dramatic door slam and sad music, you're giving us way too much credit. I didn't know it yet, but the next month was going to expose something so embarrassing for her that even I almost felt bad. Almost. Not enough to text her, though. Anyway, let me back up, because the part everyone asks about isn't the leaving. It's how she got so confident she could leave. It's how she climbed at work like she had rocket boots, while I was the one on the ground holding the ladder. Her name was Madison. Maddie, if she was in a good mood. Madison, if she wanted you to feel like you were late on rent. We met in Austin. Yeah, that Austin. Tacos, heat, people pretending they're not tired. I was a web designer, the kind who could make a local plumbing site look like Apple designed it. I did freelance gigs and some contract work for a mid-size agency downtown. Not glamorous, but steady. Maddie worked front desk at a fitness studio when we met. Cute, loud laugh, big opinions about small things. On our third date, she pointed at my laptop and said, "So you just move boxes around for money?" I looked at her and said, "Yeah. And you? Hand people towels for money." She laughed, like that wasn't exactly what she did. We were together 5 years. And if you're picturing some romantic highlight reel, let me save you time. It was mostly normal life. Morning traffic, dishes, arguing about thermostats, picking up packages from the leasing office like it was a second job. We worked because I was patient and she was consistent. Not an effort. In expectations. Around year 3, she decided she was a marketing person now. She didn't go back to school. She didn't apprentice under some wizard. She watched a bunch of videos, followed some creators, updated her bio, and started using phrases like brand voice. One night, she came home waving her phone like it was evidence. "I got an interview," she said. "For what?" "Marketing assistant at Redwood and Finch." "That's a real place?" "It's a boutique agency." "Istir de here." "Babe, what's your marketing experience?" She pointed at herself. "I'm a natural. I wanted to be supportive, so I said the most supportive lie I could find." Cool. She got the job. Entry level. Social posts, basic scheduling, helping with campaign reports. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone starts somewhere. The problem was Maddie started somewhere and then acted like the world owed her the ending. At first, she did the bare minimum, like it was a personal philosophy. She'd come home, drop her bag, and say, "I'm exhausted." I look up from my laptop. "What did you do today?" "Meetings." "Like all meetings?" "Basically." "Did you create anything?" She'd wave her hand. "It's strategy." "You wouldn't get it." That became her favorite sentence. "You wouldn't get it." She said about marketing, about office politics, about why she needed a new phone every year, about why my work wasn't ambitious enough. Meanwhile, I was actually building stuff, landing pages, UI kits, client decks, real deliverables, real deadlines. Our weeknights looked the same most of the time. I'd cook something decent, she'd scroll while multitasking, and we'd watch a show we both pretended to like. Then came the night that kicked this whole thing off. It was a Tuesday, because the universe loves boring days for life-changing nonsense. I was at the kitchen table, laptop open, cleaning up a design for a dental office site. Maddie sat across from me with her own laptop, but her screen was mostly a blank dock and a blinking cursor, like her ideas were on strike. She kept sighing like she was trying to inflate a balloon with disappointment. Finally, I said, "What's going on?" She didn't look up. "I have to pitch a social campaign idea by tomorrow morning." "Okay." "It has to be creative." "Okay." and it has to activate community engagement. I waited. So what's the problem? She snapped her laptop shut like it was personally insulting her. The problem is they want something original. I blinked. Yeah, that's usually the goal. She leaned back, arms crossed. I don't know. I am stuck. I watched her for a second. 5 years together teaches you patterns. Maddie didn't want to think. She wanted a solution to appear, and then she wanted credit for noticing it. I tried to be nice. What's the product? She rolled her eyes. A local coffee chain. They want to push a new seasonal menu. Coffee. Seasonal menu. Social campaign. I shrugged. That's not hard. She pointed at me like I'd committed a crime. Then you do it. I'm not doing it. I can throw out an idea. She stared. Fine. Throw. So I did. Light, casual like tossing a napkin. What if they do a choose the next drink thing? Polls on Instagram, people vote flavors, name the drink, winner gets featured. Community feels involved. And you get content for a week. She squinted like she was judging a contestant. That's cheesy. It's social media. Cheese is the foundation. She made a face. I don't like it. I raised my hands. Okay, it's your assignment. She reopened her laptop and stared again at the blinking cursor, like it was about to apologize. 10 minutes later, she said, without looking at me, "What was that poll idea again?" I didn't even smile. I just repeated it. She typed, still looking annoyed, like the words were disrespectful to her. You know, she said, it needs a hook. I nodded. Then add a hook. Like what? I took a breath. Like, help us create the drink of the season. Or Austin chooses the flavor. Or something. She typed. Then she stared at the screen. Okay, she said, I'll work with that. I went back to my design. I thought that was it. Just a boyfriend tossing an idea across the table so his girlfriend doesn't panic. Next morning, she texted me around 10. Maddie, they loved it. I texted back. Me, nice. Good job. Then I got another. Maddie, my boss said it's the most audience-first concept he's seen from our team. I stared at that for a second, then kept designing. Not my circus, right? Wrong. It became my circus. I just didn't get a uniform. That week she came home glowing. They're putting me on more projects, she said, kicking off her shoes. That's good. Yeah, I'm finally being seen. I nodded. Cool. She watched me for a second. You could be happier for me. I looked up. I cooked dinner, and I'm listening. That's not the same. What do you want, fireworks? She crossed her arms. I want support. So I said, I support you. And she accepted it like it was overdue. 2 days later, she asked for another small idea. Just brainstorm with me, she said, sliding her laptop toward me on the couch. I hesitated. Maddie, please, just 5 minutes. Famous last words. 5 minutes became a routine. She'd come home with a task she needed to impress on, and I'd give her options. Not because I was some hero, mostly because I loved her, and also because watching her stress spiral over basic stuff made me tired. She wasn't stupid. Let me be clear. She could do the work. She just didn't want to struggle. She wanted a part where everyone claps. She'd ask questions like, what's a good angle for this? How do I make this feel premium? What would you do? And I'd answer. I'd give her frameworks, hooks, concepts, sometimes even write rough copy to get her going. And every time she'd take it to work, polish it a little, and come home saying they're obsessed. At first I thought, okay, maybe I'm just helping her find her groove. Maybe she'll learn. But here's what happened instead. She started treating my brain like an appliance, like I was a toaster. Hey, she'd say while I was brushing my teeth, I need 3 headline options. Hey, she'd say while I was driving, what's a fun social challenge idea? Hey, she'd say while I was mid-call with a client, can you pause and look at this real quick? One night, I finally said, Maddie, you're using me. She didn't even blink. No, I'm not. You are. She huffed. You're being dramatic. I'm being accurate. She leaned in, eyes sharp. If you love me, you'd want me to succeed. That sentence did so much damage, quietly, over time, because it made everything binary. Help her, or you don't love her. So I helped, and she succeeded. Fast. Within a year, she wasn't an assistant anymore. She became a marketing specialist, then campaign lead. Then she started coming home later. At first, it was believable. We had a client call. We had a deadline. We had to redo the deck. Then it became constant. I checked the clock at 8:30, kitchen lights on, my dinner cooling on the stove. She'd text, Maddie, running late. Don't wait up. One night, I did wait. I sat on the couch, TV muted, laptop closed, just listening to the apartment building noises. She walked in at 10:47, heels in hand, hair slightly messed up, and the first thing she said wasn't sorry. It was, "You look annoyed." I stared. "You came home almost 3 hours after you said you would." She tossed her bag on the chair. "Welcome to career life." Career life includes communication. It includes ambition. Ambition doesn't erase manners. She poured a glass of water like she was in a commercial, took a sip, and said, "You're not supportive lately." I laughed once short. "Yeah, it's weird. I only cooked, cleaned, and built half your ideas." How unsupportive. Her eyes narrowed. "Don't start. Then don't pretend I'm the problem." She walked past me toward the bedroom. "I can't do this right now." That became her other favorite line. "I can't do this right now." It meant, I'm leaving the room, and you're not allowed to have needs. The next few weeks were like that. Quiet mornings, small arguments, long silences in the car when we went to the grocery store. We'd be in H-E-B, pushing a cart through the aisles, and she'd be texting with her phone held low like it was a secret. I noticed. I didn't accuse. I watched. My friend Derek noticed too, because Derek notices everything. He's the kind of guy who can tell you what year a stranger's truck is just by hearing it idle. We met at a sports bar near South Congress one Friday. Nothing wild. Wings, a game on TV, the kind of night where you pretend you're not thinking about your relationship. Derek took one look at me and said, "You look like you're sleeping in 2-hour chunks." "Feels like it," I said. He nodded toward my phone. "Where's Maddie?" "Working late." He lifted his eyebrows. Again, I shrugged. "She's moving up." Derek took a bite, chewed, and said, "Or she's moving somewhere." I stared at him. "Don't." He held up a hand. "I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying people don't suddenly love fluorescent lighting that much." I forced a laugh. "It's her job." Derek leaned back. "Okay, but you're the one who looks like a man waiting for a bus that's never coming." I wanted to argue. I didn't. Because the thing is, Derek wasn't cruel. He was practical. And practical people are terrifying when you're lying to yourself. That night, Maddie came home at almost midnight. I was awake, sitting at the kitchen table again, laptop open, not working, just scrolling because my brain couldn't settle. She stopped when she saw me. "Why are you up?" I looked at her. Same question. She sighed like I was exhausting her. "It was a long day." "Okay." She walked to the fridge, opened it, stared like she'd never seen food before. "Do you want to tell me what's going on?" I asked. She didn't turn around. "Nothing is going on." "Then why do you act like being here is a chore?" She closed the fridge. "Because you're always in a mood." I smiled without humor. "I wonder why." She finally faced me. "I don't have energy for your insecurity." "Insecurity?" I repeated. "I'm asking why my girlfriend comes home at midnight and treats me like a roommate she hates." She stepped closer, voice low. "You're suffocating me." That word hit me weird because I realized she'd been building a story. A neat little narrative where her late nights were ambition and my questions were suffocating. I said, "Maddie, are you with someone else?" Her face did something fast, like a flicker, then settled into offense. "Oh my God," she said. "Are you serious?" I nodded once. "Answer the question." She laughed. "This is why I can't grow with you. You hear hard work, and you translate it into drama." I leaned back. "So that's a no." She grabbed her bag. "I'm going to shower." And she walked away, leaving the question hanging like a bad smell. 2 weeks later, I got my answer without her giving it. It was a Saturday morning. I remember because I was in gym shorts, coffee in hand, trying to convince myself to start a workout. Maddie had left early, said she had a quick meeting. On a Saturday. Sure. Her laptop was on the couch, open. Normally I wouldn't touch it, but it was buzzing with notifications like it was having a panic attack. Ich glänzte over. The screen showed a calendar invite. Brunch, Trevor. Trevor wasn't a client. Trevor wasn't a co-worker I'd heard about. Trevor was new. Then another notification popped up. A message preview. Not a lot of text, but enough. Last night was worth the late emails. Miss you already. My coffee sat heavy in my hand. I didn't slam the laptop. I didn't yell at the walls. I just stared at the screen like it was a receipt for a life I didn't buy. I sat down slowly, scrolled. Yeah, I know, privacy morality lecture, save it, and saw the thread. Trevor was her boss. Full name, Trevor Lang. And the messages weren't subtle, not graphic, not anything I'm going to repeat, but clear enough that if you put it on a billboard, drivers would honk. My first thought wasn't even anger. It was, how long has this been going on? My second thought was, you've got to be kidding me. Because Trevor's name had been in our apartment for months. Maddie would say, Trevor loved the deck, or Trevor wants it revised, or Trevor said I'm killing it. Killing it, right? I heard my own voice out loud in an empty apartment. Wow. When Maddie came home around noon, she was humming. Actually humming. Like a cartoon. She walked in, saw me sitting still, and froze. What's wrong? She asked. I lifted her laptop slightly. Brunch go well. Her face hardened instantly. Why are you on my laptop? I nodded slow. So we're doing that first. She stepped forward. That is a huge violation. Sure, I said. And dating your boss is what? Team building. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. It's not like that. I laughed once. Maddie, I read it. It's exactly like that. She dropped her bag. You don't understand what it's been like for me. I blinked. Oh, this should be good. She pointed at me. You've been holding me back. I stared. By paying bills, cooking dinner, and feeding you ideas? You act like you're the reason I've succeeded. I leaned forward. Because I am. Her mouth opened, then closed. Then she said the boldest lie I'd ever heard in my own living room. I barely used your help. I just sat back and let the silence do the work. Then I said calm, okay, tell me the last 3 campaigns you pitched. Walk me through the concepts, start to finish. Her eyes darted. Why? Because if you barely use my help, that should be easy. She crossed her arms. I'm not playing your little game. It's not a game. It's your job. She shook her head like I was the problem. This is why Trevor gets me. He respects what I do. I nodded slowly. Trevor respects what you bring him, which is my work with your name on it. Her voice rose. That is not fair. I stood up. Not fast. Just enough that she had to look at me. What's not fair, I said, is you turning our kitchen into your idea factory, then acting like I'm dead weight. She laughed sharp. Oh, please. You're just mad because you're not the center of my world anymore. I stared at her and felt something click into place. The relationship wasn't breaking. It had already been replaced. I was just the last to get the memo. So I said, pack your stuff. Her eyes widened. What? Pack your stuff? I repeated. Go be ambitious at Trevor's place. She scoffed. You can't just kick me out. I can't, I said. It's my lease. She stared at me, then smiled like she'd won something. Fine, she said. I was going to leave anyway. And that was the moment I realized she'd been rehearsing that too. She packed that night. Like I told you. Suitcases, box of office junk, trunk swallowing 5 years. Before she got in the car, she turned and said, You'll regret this. I nodded. Yeah, I'll regret not doing it sooner. She drove off. The first week after, my life got quieter in a way that felt suspicious. Like when a neighbor who always blasts music suddenly stops and you're like, are they okay? Or did they move? My place stayed clean. The thermostat stayed where I put it. My groceries lasted more than 2 days because nobody was snacking through a full week's worth of food like it was a sport. Derek came over with takeout and stood in my living room, looking around. It's peaceful, he said. I know, I said. It's eerie. He pointed at the couch. Where's the pile of stuff she used to move from one corner to the other? Gone, I said. I can see fabric again. Derek nodded like he respected my survival. You okay? He asked. I sat down. I'm functional. That's not the same. I shrugged. I'm not doing the dramatic thing. I'm just reloading. Derek smirked. That's the most designer way to describe feelings I've ever heard. I smiled small. Yeah, well, I am tired. Work saved me, honestly. Not because I buried myself, but because it reminded me I was good at something real. I started picking up more clients. I redesigned my own portfolio site. I went to the gym, not in a montage way, just in a my back hurts from sitting way. And every now and then, my phone would buzz with Maddie's name. At first it was basic. Maddie. can you send me the notes from that coffee campaign idea? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, meh, no. She replied fast. Maddie, seriously? After everything I did for you? I laughed out loud in my empty kitchen. Me? What did you do for me, Maddie? Name one thing. No reply. A few days later. Maddie, Trevor wants me to lead a new pitch. I just need a few concepts. Please. I didn't answer. Then she switched tones. Maddie, you're being petty. I finally wrote back. Me. I'm being free. That was the last I heard for a bit. Until a month after she left. It was a Wednesday evening. I was walking out of a supermarket with a bag of chicken and some vegetables, trying to pretend I was the kind of adult who meal preps. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. Hello. A pause. Then a familiar voice, smaller than I remembered. Hi, it's Maddie. I stood by my car, keys in hand. How do you have this number? It's the same number, she said, and I could hear the embarrassment. I didn't delete it. I looked at the sky like it had answers. What do you want? Another pause. Can we talk? We're talking. She exhaled. I messed up. I didn't say anything. I let her sit in it. She kept going, faster now. Things changed. Yeah, I said. That tends to happen when you move in with your boss. I didn't, she stopped. Okay. Yes. That's what happened. Okay. Her voice cracked. Not in a dramatic, sobbing way, more like someone who's been talking too much and finally hits the truth. I got let go. I blinked. You got fired? Don't call it that. She snapped automatically, then immediately softened. Yes. Basically. I leaned on my car. Why? Silence. Then, because I couldn't keep up. I waited. She whispered, because it was never really me. There it was. Clean. Simple. Like a confession without the theatrics. I said, what happened with Trevor? She laughed once, and it sounded miserable. He's done with me. How convenient. Miles, please. Hearing her say my name like that, like I was still her safety net, made my stomach tighten. I said, tell me the whole thing. So she did, in pieces like pulling splinters. She said Trevor started pushing her harder once she moved in. Big client. Faster deadlines. Less team support. He wanted her to be the person he thought she was. And then one day, in a meeting, he asked her to explain the strategy behind one of her best campaigns. Not just the surface. The reasoning, the structure, the choices. She couldn't. She tried to wing it. She used buzzwords. She smiled too much. Trevor didn't like that. Then he started asking for drafts. Early drafts. Notes. How she brainstormed. And Maddie, because Maddie always thought she could charm her way through a gap, try to fake it. But her work looked different when it was just her. Trevor noticed. Client noticed. Somebody from her team noticed enough to pull old files, compare writing styles, compare timestamps. She told me, voice low, they found messages. I frowned. Messages? The ones I sent you, she said. When I'd ask for ideas. When you'd send me outlines. It was in my email. I didn't delete them. I almost laughed, but it came out like a breath. So your downfall was organization. Don't, she said, weak. I leaned my head back against the car. So Trevor finds out his superstar is basically borrowing from her boyfriend. Ex. She corrected automatically. Right, I said. Ex-boyfriend. The one you called not ambitious. She went quiet. Then she said, he asked me if you did more than help. I paused. What did you say? I said no. She admitted quickly. I said you just inspired me. I laughed, and I didn't feel proud of it. It was just a sound that came out when your brain hits absurdity. And he believed you? No, she said. He called you. I froze. He called me. Yeah, she whispered. He found your name on my laptop because I had your old resume saved. He called and asked if you were available for contract work. I stared at the parking lot lines like they were moving. He asked if I could build campaign landing pages. I said slowly, remembering a missed call from a weird number a couple weeks ago. I'd ignored it. That was him. Yes, she said. And you didn't tell me. I thought if you talked to him, you'd ruin everything. I let that sit for a moment. Then I said, Maddie, you ruined everything. She sniffed. I know. I could hear her breathing, like she was waiting for me to rescue her with words. Finally, she said, I need help. I closed my eyes. With what? With getting back on my feet, she said. I can't stay here. I have nowhere to go. My mom is already, she stopped, swallowed. I just need a little time. I can pay you back. I opened my eyes and looked at my grocery bag. Chicken, vegetables, normal life. I said no. Silence. Then her voice sharpened, defensive reflex kicking in. Wow. I didn't flinch. Yep. So you're just going to abandon me. I'm going to let you experience the results of your choices, I said. That's not abandonment. That's adulthood. You're acting like you never made mistakes. I've made plenty, I said. My biggest one was letting you turn me into your unpaid creative department. She inhaled like she wanted to argue, but she didn't have the energy. Miles, she said softly. I thought I was in love. With him, I asked. With the feeling, she admitted. Like I was finally important. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Yeah, I know that feeling. It's called validation. It's not a relationship. She whispered. He told me I was special. I almost laughed again. Trevor told you what you wanted to hear because he thought it came with results. She went quiet. Then she said, he said I'm not what he thought. I kept my voice calm. Because you weren't doing the thinking. She sighed, long and shaky. I hate this. I don't, I said. I hate how it happened. But I don't hate where I am now. She sounded offended and hurt at the same time. So you're happy without me. I looked at my car, my keys, my quiet apartment waiting. I'm stable without you, I said. That's better than happy. Happy comes later. She tried one more angle, quieter, almost sweet. I miss you, she said. I didn't take the bait. You miss the version of me that fixed things. I miss us. No, I said. You miss having an audience for your problems and a solution for your deadlines. That landed hard. I could hear it in the silence. Finally, she said, so that's it. That's it, I said. After 5 years. After 5 years, I echoed. You chose a shortcut and called it ambition. She whispered, I didn't mean to hurt you. I believe you, I said. You just didn't mean enough to stop. She made a small sound like a laugh that didn't make it. You always talk like you're above it. I'm not above it, I said. I'm just not inside it anymore. Another pause. Then, very quietly, he told me you were probably behind my best work. I nodded to myself. At least he's learning. That's so cruel, she said, but it didn't have fight in it. It's accurate, I replied. Cruel would be lying to make you feel better. I'm not doing that job anymore. She exhaled. Okay, okay, I repeated. She hung up. I stood there for a moment, holding my phone like it was heavier than it should be. Not because I missed her, because I finally saw the whole picture clearly. Maddie didn't fall for her boss because he was some magical guy. She fell for the story, that she was rising because she deserved it, and anyone who questioned it was holding her back. And I made that story possible for way too long, because I thought love meant helping no matter what. Now here's the part people don't expect. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel like I won. Life isn't a scoreboard, and if it is, everybody loses something. What I felt was clean. Clean like a room after you throw out junk you've been stepping over for years. The next day, I checked my voicemail. One of the missed calls was indeed Trevor. He'd left a message like he was doing me a favor. Hey, this is Trevor Lang from Redwood and Finch. We're looking for someone who can support our web and landing page work. I found your information through a connection. Give me a call if you're interested. I played it twice, just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Then I deleted it. Not because I couldn't use the money. I could, but because I didn't want my life connected to theirs in any way. I didn't want to be a ghostwriter for their mess. I wanted my work to have my name on it again, even if nobody clapped. A week later, I ran into Maddie's old co-worker at a coffee place downtown. Her name was Tasha. Sharp eyeliner, sharper opinions. She saw me and did that half-smile people do when they have gossip and morals fighting inside them. Miles, she said. Tasha, I replied. How's life? She tilted her head. You heard? I heard enough. Tasha nodded slowly. It was a situation. That's one word for it. She sipped her drink. Look, you didn't hear it from me, but Trevor was bragging about Maddie for months. Like she was his secret weapon. I raised an eyebrow. Secret weapon. Goo. Tasha leaned in. Then when work stopped being impressive, he got nasty. Not yelling, just cold. Like she disappointed him personally. Yeah, I said. That tracks. And when he realized where the ideas came from, Tasha added, he looked embarrassed. I almost smiled. Good. Tasha shrugged. She's been telling people you were jealous. I laughed. Of what? Tasha smiled quick. Exactly. We talked a bit longer, then she left, and I sat there thinking about how Maddie would probably keep rewriting the story until she could stand living in it. That's her thing. Mine is different now. I stopped being the guy who tries to earn peace by overgiving. I stopped donating my energy to someone who treated effort like something other people should provide. I learned that helping someone grow is one thing. Carrying them while they take selfies is another. And I'll tell you one more thing, because this is the part that still makes me shake my head. A couple months after the call, Maddie texted again. Just one line. Maddie, I should have listened to you. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed, me, you did listen. That was the problem. She didn't reply. I didn't feel mean. I felt honest. Because the lesson she got wasn't that she lost a boyfriend. The lesson was that shortcuts come with a bill, and eventually somebody wants to see the receipt. And the lesson I got wasn't that relationships are dangerous or that you shouldn't help people. It was simpler. If someone only shines when you're standing behind them holding the light, you're not their partner. You're their equipment. So yeah, she left to be with her boss. She thought she was trading up. Turns out she was just trading the person who actually helped her for someone who only liked her as long as she looked impressive. And me? I went back to my quiet apartment, cooked my chicken, opened my laptop, and built a life where my work and my name finally matched.